So whenever you're comfortable, let us know who you are, what do you do, and where are you guys located?
Okay, yeah. So my name is Aric Bagshaw. I own Net Zero Homes Inc. We're a general contractor renovator out of Burlington, Ontario. We do everything from kitchens, basements, bathrooms to full custom homes, modular homes, net zero homes. Within the last 2 years, we've registered 5 full net zero homes. We're working on our first true off-grid home right now. So definitely leaning the business towards that sustainable and future-proof home building service. And yeah, that's who we are, man.
I want to first know what got you into this whole thing. So actually,
Um,
I want to format.
while having a background in biomedical toxicology, the natural progression was to become a contractor. I spent 5 years in university doing that. And then all through university, I worked with my hands in the summers, all through high school. I really enjoyed it. I went to school, I did the theory based stuff in class, with obviously a different goal, but quickly realized I really enjoyed construction, building things, watching things go from nothing to something, and being involved in big transformations. Um, so I started working with a large renovation contractor in Etobicoke right out of university, and I quickly loved the project management aspect of it. And then I moved into some sales with them, so I kind of got a full spectrum of sales, PMing, and I liked obviously doing both of them. I worked there for 5 years until I decided to start Net Zero Homes. And what got me to start Net Zero Homes was I was actually doing a course at University of Toronto in advanced building science, and there was obviously a lot of talk of the house as a system and the future of the building code being net zero by 2030. And I saw obviously an opportunity there to be a forerunner in that niche market. So I, right out of that course, I quickly registered Net Zero Homes as a business, and I worked kind of as a side hustle for a year or so, and then started doing Net Zero Homes as its own business entity. Probably the first to admit, I didn't build my first Net Zero home until about 2 years ago, so it took me about 8 years to get there, almost 9 years. But there's multiple reasons for that. There really was no path to certifying a net zero home when I first started. And the CHBA just rolled out the net zero home certification process about 5 years ago, and it was still in testing for a few years. So long and short, what got me into it was, just obviously seeing homes transform, working with my hands in some cases. Every job is different, which I love. There's always brings new challenges and obviously new opportunities. That's the beauty of it. I'm not, doing the same thing every day or week or month even.
So you've got a taste of both. Like you worked for someone, then you started your own company. What made you decide to pivot, like, or to just to branch out on your own?
Well, again, I kind of got a taste of, I wouldn't say all of the aspects of being a business owner, but I got a taste of the sales. I got a taste of the project management. I was helping with some strategy there. And I just saw an opportunity where I could branch out and, do this for myself, build a bit name for myself, my family, hire on, build a, life for some employees, some dependents, things like that. So it was just the natural progression. Obviously, more opportunity. Let's be serious. The money was a big part of it. Being able to, you know, increase my income and weight by, just being the actual primary GC.
Now, if somebody is working for a company and he has this gut feeling of, it's just a matter of time, and I just want to feel ready enough to branch out. Like, what are the sort of parameters that this person should hit before he decides to move by his own?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I definitely didn't hit them. I mean, obviously, get a business plan in place, understand all of the costs that it's going to take over those first, year or so of just building your client base, and obviously getting those leads in and converting them to sales, and then executing them to actually see that revenue. Don't rush. I would say don't rush out of your job, and maybe. I don't. A side hustle is a great thing for a little bit until it's up and running. I think it's a great way to get a couple clients on the side, but still do your job. I was still, number one salesman there. I had a side hustle for a year, so they knew about it. So yeah, I think just having your ducks in a row from a planning perspective is probably all I could really say. Yeah, that's all I really can do.
So that's if they are progressing from, let's say, a similar background company. What if they have a different corporate job, and they think that their passion is in construction. Now, it might be harder for those people to sort of go out and just learn from their mentors or managers the things they need to know before starting their own company. For those people, how would you say they could get the experience necessarily to start, or did this start and they'll take them longer, but they'll figure it out eventually?
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty big jump, in any kind of starting a business. Not if you're coming completely blind to the requirements or the knowledge base, that not having any of the knowledge base you need to execute, or like the client base. Who are your contacts? Who are your subject matter experts? Or do you have? I mean, unless you've done some of your own home renos, managed some of your own home renos, maybe that's an answer. Maybe have do a couple of your own projects, manage a couple in-home, manage your own bathroom, manage your own kitchen renovation where you lay it out. I would be a good way to start and limit your risk and exposure. Definitely take a building code course. There's a lot of courses through like buildability for like basic project management, basic business planning for construction, based like Ontario Building Code Part 9. You obviously need to know that to even start building anything outside of maybe a bathroom, and even that you still need to know some stuff. So I'd say, I guess, long and short is educate yourself first. Realistically, I would say take some courses. Don't rush into it. It's not an easy jump.
Gotcha. Now, you emphasized on how important your network is, and your network was primarily built on your previous job. So, your previous job got you this network. Now, when you branch out, what's the most ethical way to move out and still get this network and benefit from it without interfering with the current company that actually gave you the network to start with?
Yeah, well, I don't think you obviously not taking work from them, not taking customers from them. There's two different aspects to obviously networking. You have your client base who's giving you work, and then you have your trades and your subject matter experts who are executing the work for you as a general contractor. So there's nothing wrong with if you branch out on your own, working with an old trade or an old subject matter expert, old electrician, plumber, HVAC guy. There's nothing in my mind from a ethics perspective that's they're their own business. They're their own sole proprietor. They are welcome to work for whoever they want. The question again was,
How not to create conflict when you branch out?
yeah, I think not creating, I think just obviously not stepping on their toes, not stealing their clients, not going behind their back and marketing to some of their channels
So
is
you pretty
obviously
much have to build up your own network and
correct.
hook
And
up.
usually you start with family, friends, reach out, see who needs work, let them know you're in the industry. That's how I started. The majority of my project at the beginning were family, friends. That was an easy foot in the door for those. Like I was doing no marketing at all.
And then when you exhaust your relative and family options, what should be your next step? Is it you get a membership in a certain club? You go hang out with certain people? You do marketing? What do you do?
Yeah, well, obviously, marketing is the next step. If it's not filling your pipeline with referrals, I mean, we've been pretty lucky that referrals have been a huge part of our business, but we're at the point, as you know, that it's not enough. I know it's been a long time coming, but we've had a pretty. I shouldn't say we do no marketing because we get a lot of referrals or leads through other businesses who are doing the marketing. So we're getting leads from Nelson Homes, prefabricated homes. We're getting leads from the kitchen company who does some marketing. So the natural progression in any business, yes, of course, is to start marketing and trying to position yourself in the market that you're not just working for referrals or friends and family, right? It's the only way to grow your business.
You notice that most of my questions are pretty much formed to help those who are trying to start out. Like you've been in business for almost 10 years, and there's a lot of business owners who have been in business for twice this time, but there's still subcontracting work, or the whole team is like him and perhaps one another like site supervisors. But you guys have scaled pretty decently over 10 years, especially in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
That's why I want to take your take on that, and perhaps give it to somebody out there who's just starting out, and potentially this could save him like years, if not just a couple of mistakes. In terms of hiring, when did you feel it was the right time to hire, and what was your first hire?
My first hire was an administrative helper in the office, and that was 6 years ago. She's no longer with us. But yeah, that was the first thing. Get out of that day-to-day bookkeeping, invoicing, which is obviously not our job. I had a bookkeeper ahead of that, but I was still managing a lot of the stuff in the office that I didn't really want to. Not necessarily like receipt entry, obviously, but just macro business stuff, like things like, putting together a proposal, just things, just administrative work that I was not good, but it was repeatable and it was templatable. So that was an easy thing to pass off. And then as the work built up, I quickly realized that I needed project managers or on-site help. So eyes on site, because I couldn't be everywhere at once. I had guys in the field prior to having admin help. So I had guys in the field, hands-on kind of handyman guys doing some, not all of the work. No management though, so I was still kind of giving them their day-to-day tasks, which wasn't ideal. So once I brought Amanda in, she would also help with providing them tasks and schedules and monitoring their timesheets and all that stuff. And then obviously building out templates and processes. That was probably the biggest turning point, was once we started to spend some time on processes and creating SOPs that we could operate on. And those obviously were continually evolving as we hired more people. Then we hired in a project manager, and then we had to create SOPs for them based on what I was already doing. And then from there, we brought in even a GM, and we brought in some design help. But once they were there, it was such a relief off my back. But then once I did, it freed me up to grow so much more. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. And how big is the team now?
12. 12 here at NZH. Then I have 6 at AKC. And then I have some other guys that are employees, but not really. Well, they're subs, but they're not on the payroll.
Gotcha.
But they work for me pretty much 99% of the time. So
Gotcha. And which hire would you say you should have hired earlier?
I hired right at the right time. I don't regret my timing of hires. I don't think.
Now, moving to another sort of set of questions. In terms of the current market, what's happening? Why isn't nobody satisfied with anything? Why is everybody mad at the government? Why is everybody mad at homeowners? Why are homeowners mad at the contractors? What's happening?
I have no idea. What's happening in the market? I think just people are it's uncertainty, right? People are scared of the unknown, and the unknown is large right now in a lot of people's eyes, I guess, with tariffs and down south of the border, and just things slowing down in a lot of different industries, especially home building and renovating. There's been a big slowdown. So I'm not, real estate's obviously gone down quite a bit. So that's been a big factor. People haven't been able to borrow against their homes as much as they once were. It was really easy to borrow money at 2 points, get $100,000 to do a nice reno. Now that's out of reach for most people that used to be able to do it. So, I don't know. I'm not, that's not my forte, but.
Oh, so was this one of the reasons why you decided to add on the zero net homes and the prefabricated houses, or it was just you've been thinking about it even before knowing that the market would slow down and the market would sort of shift its interest?
Yeah, I mean, again, the whole idea from day one in 2014 was to build net zero homes. When the certification process came about through Canadian Home Builders Association, then I jumped on the opportunity to be one of the forerunners in it. And then as far as prefab goes, that's something that we came across just from working with them as a supplier on some projects, and they approached us after a couple successful builds to become their Ontario dealer, because they were trying to branch out to Ontario. So that was kind of a case of the right place, right time, which is sometimes the case in this industry. Let's be serious. So
for those who do not know what a net zero home is, how would you explain it to them? And what's so different about a net zero home and not just a regular home?
So net zero home essentially produces as much energy as it consumes as a function of an entire year. So we design, model, and construct them to be net zero ready is where we start, which means that it's built to net zero modeling standards, windows, insulation, air sealing, siding, all the different parameters that are required to meet that energy reduction of 35 to 45%. from that's in a renovation, but in a new build, it's just a standard that you have to meet that's above and beyond building code. And then if they want to go true net zero, all we do is add the renewable energy source. So you have a net zero ready home, which is designed, modeled, and constructed to be net zero. And then if you want to be true net zero, you got to add solar, wind, some form of renewable energy to power the home and produce enough energy that it can power the home over the whole year. Now, it's not to say that in the winter it's going to produce enough energy, because obviously solar and things like that deplete in the winter, but there's essentially a sinusoidal wave that right down the middle of that, it's zero, net zero energy over a year.
So for the new builds now, if somebody's considering, let's say, solar, what would be the difference between just building a normal house and just slapping, let's say, solar on top of it, or starting with the end goal in mind, which is I want to build a net zero house?
The difference would be in the systems you put in. So all your mechanical has to be up to a certain standard. The windows have to meet a certain standard, which are above and beyond, building code. Wind goes above and beyond standard building code. Air sealing goes well beyond building code. That's probably the hardest metric to achieve with net zero homes is an air exchange under 1.5 per hour. So you really have to pay a lot of attention through the build process to make sure that the home is really, really well sealed and really tight. And your trades have to all be on board at every stage and know that that's the goal. Because if they just think it's a conventional home and they're going to go and drill a hole wherever they want to put their vent in and not perfectly seal it and caulk it and tape everything back together, then it's not going to meet the criteria when the time comes to register the home.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, you guys had a name for yourselves before, let's say, joining forces with Nelson Homes. If somebody is starting out and they don't have this big of a name, how would you advise them to tap into this market?
I would advise them to tap into the market, utilizing people like yourself to do some marketing and get their name out there. And then just do a really good job. So you have really good reviews, really good history in your niche or your geographical service area. But definitely exposure is huge, right? People see brand recognition as a big thing. I think they see my signs everywhere. They see us with Nelson, which is a big one. We're being backed by like a 100-year-old company. So that's been a huge thing for us. There's a bit of brand recognition. Oh, you guys are a Nelson dealer. You must do good work. But you can achieve that as well. Like I have lots of friends in the industry who aren't with Nelson, obviously, but do a really good job of branding themselves, and they do good work. And that goes a long way when it comes to.
Now, if somebody is, I want to go back to net zero homes. If somebody is doubting, like, what are the objections do usually people have before deciding whether they should go net zero or not? Is it the aesthetics? Is it how effective it is? What are the objections you hear the most?
Cost. They always come into it thinking that, oh, net zero home, that must be very expensive to construct something like that. But the reality is with a new build, we were already doing about 80% of what we had to do to get there. Yes, you have to do upgraded windows. Yes, you have to do upgraded HVAC systems. Yes, there's a lot more time spent in the air sealing phases, but the biggest pushback initially is cost. But the cost, again, on a build is not hugely incremental. On a renovation, it's a whole different ballgame, because in order to qualify for a net zero renovation, you have to meet all of the same parameters. You're essentially building a new home. So now your renovation scope just doubled or tripled just to get to that certification. So a net zero reno, much harder to achieve than a net zero build. On a net zero build, it's the incremental cost to a standard home is about 15 grand, depending on the size of it, anywhere between 15 and 25,000, depending on the size of the home, obviously. So again, not huge when you're building a 750, 800, $1 million house. So 15 grand is kind of a drop in the bucket. But when you're renovating a home and you want to spend 200 grand, now it's 400 grand because you have to touch all the exterior insulation, rough in with solar, upgrade all your systems, which you may not have had to do. So it can add up substantially in a reno.
So, in terms of renos, like if they decide to actually flip it to a net zero home or as close as possible to this, what are the advantages to it get over, let's say, 10, 15 years in terms of price? Because if it's a limiting factor, like, is it the case that they'll actually sort of save money on the long run, or it's just more of an environmental conscious?
Environmental is one part of it. I usually pitch it's the home, it's the comfort. Honestly, you feel the difference when you walk into a net zero home. It's uniform heat, uniform cooling. You feel the healthy, it's healthier. It's more efficient, obviously, is one aspect of it. With the renos, it really lends itself to major renos. Like I'm going to do all my siding, I'm doing my roof, I'm gutting my house, I'm doing my basement, I'm changing my HVAC no matter what. That's when a reno makes sense. But if you try and convince someone to do a reno who's just doing a main floor reno, it's a huge jump, right, in price. So you really got to, the renos got to be tailored to the right. It has to be a good candidate for a net zero reno, put it that way. We're doing one right now in Toronto. It's going to be like the third net zero reno to be certified. It's very hard to certify a reno that way, especially in the older homes. So yeah, the reno is a big jump.
How's the competition in the GTA for those projects for the net zero homes?
I mean, I obviously meet a lot of the guys at the seminars and the courses that we have to go to, and some of they documented that entire net zero build that we were doing, CHPA. So they're doing a feature on it. So I've met a lot of the guys, and not a lot. I mean, it's a drop in the bucket. Not a lot of people are pushing it because of the cost. I think from a renovation perspective. I mean, new builds. A lot of the big developers are implementing it now because the reality is by 2030, all of the new homes are going to have to be net zero ready. So they're all jumping on the net zero train on the development end. But I'm not seeing enough builders and renovators take it on as of yet. So that's been a good opportunity for us to be a forerunner in that.
Gotcha. And what makes you guys stand out next to those few competitors, at least in the GTA area?
Our name. I'm just kidding. That was an easy one. What makes us stand out? I mean, we're on our fifth now net zero home, our first true off-grid home. We have 3 more in the pipeline. We were already doing a lot of this before this labeling program came out. So I may even be able to go back and certify some homes I built 10 years ago or 8 years ago. So I think we've been doing it for a long time. And I think that sets us apart from the guys who are just learning these skill sets now and training their guys and their teams to execute in this way.
And if you could change a few things about how the other companies operate, what would you change? Would you say quality? Is there something that bothers you about the current competition apart from them competing on the same jobs?
No, not really. I don't know. I don't really want to knock anybody. Obviously, I don't like the guys who cut corners and build shit, and I got to go back in and fix them. But yeah, no, I don't really have anything against them.
Perhaps it's just too early yet for everybody to get into there and sort of for those problems to rise. In terms of government grants and government incentives, how much of those are available for you guys?
For net zero builders, as
Yes.
far as God, it's ever changing every week. I can't even keep track of them. But I mean, there's obviously the Canada Greener Homes Grant, which is available to net zero renovations. And Our Quality Enbridge, has a $5,000 rebate. Yeah, there's tons of different incentive programs, and it varies from municipality to municipality. Like City of Toronto is different than Muskoka is different. Like in Toronto, I know they're getting almost $50,000 in grants and rebates just through all these different pop that I wasn't even aware of. So I always tell people to reach out. There's tons of rebate companies out there who offer that service and can tell you exactly what you can and can't qualify for based on your scope of work. And we work with a few of them too. So typically I just refer my clients to them to figure out what they can get.
And is it the same thing with the prefabricated houses you guys do, or things are slightly different?
Yeah, there's currently no incentives that I'm aware of on the prefab homes. Because again, the prefab homes we build they're still custom homes. Like the only prefabricated part is the framing, right? We still build it like a custom. They're not modular. Not that it matters. I mean, the only incentives we've seen for modular and prefab is we've priced some municipalities are deeming developments they have to be constructed prefab or modular. That's part of their subdivision agreement. So we've been trying to go after a few of those. I'm not sure why they do that, to be honest with you. Maybe just for speed of building or efficiency.
So if somebody is considering sort of the prefabricated houses, what do they usually give a priority to it over a normal just a custom house?
It's fixed material pricing, which is good in kind of a volatile market sometimes. Obviously, especially through COVID, people love the fact that they sign up, they're guaranteed that number, whether lumber went up or lumber went down or windows went up or whatever. So that was a big one. Quality, obviously, the homes are built in a temperature controlled factory, cut by CNC, assembled. in a warm, again, a temperature. No one's out there working in the winter with a saw and a pencil. Um, so that's a big one. Quality, speed. Obviously, we're turning the houses around in 3 to 4 months, and obviously having Nelson back them. Nelson's been around for over 80 years. They're a big company that's people feel comfortable knowing that they have them in their back corner when it comes to the build.
Was it a good option for? Would you say?
Was a good fit for prefab.
Yeah.
Uh, Rural properties, cottages, second homes, but homes kind of in with lots of space around them for staging, because obviously it comes in on a large truck and we have to assemble it and store it until it's up. Someone looking for cost effect, not that we can't do full custom, because we've done many full custom prefabs, which kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but like customized inside, the higher end finishes. But it really does lend itself to simple designs. Someone who is okay with not going too crazy architecturally, and just wants it done quickly, efficiently, and for a good price.
Do they work better in certain cities, or based on, like, let's say, weather or demographics, or?
No, they're as much as they're prefabricated, they're designed for that exact job site. Like like any home you design in Ontario or Canada, everything has to be the wind loads, rain loads, snow loads. Everything has to be designed for that site. So from a location perspective, it doesn't matter. But again, they need to be the site. It can't be like a downtown laneway house where you can't get a 53-foot trailer and all the panels stored. Well, you got to have some space, right?
So let's say I'm interested in one of those houses,
Yeah.
and I contact you guys. What are the process like before we sign a contract, and how things work after we sign the contract?
So typically what we do is we have someone who reaches out to us, we ask them to pick a few models off the website, 2 or 3 models that are kind of in line with what their expectations are, with the understanding that it's 100% customizable. So once we have those 2 or 3 models, we provide budget pricing based on their requirements. They say, we want wood siding, we want hardwood, we want tiled showers, we want a full basement, we want no basement. So we gather some high level requirements from them. We say, based on your requirements, your budget price is $350,000. If they're happy with that budget price, we move into a design phase where we do permit ready drawings for $6,000. So that includes full customization of your model, your HVAC, your structural, your foundation plan, septic plan if you need one. The benefit of buying the package through us is now you're really just pricing labor. Now your builder isn't marking up all that lumber and all those windows and siding and roofing and insulation and drywall, trim, doors. So you're buying that all at the cost of a supplier, and then you're hiring someone to install it all. So we've taken care of all the design, exactly what you're getting from your floors to your kitchen. So it's a good way to save money and control your costs.
What are the criteria you guys look for before partnering up with a preferred builder?
So first and foremost, we look for Tarion certified builders, because obviously in order to build a new home in Ontario, you need to be Tarion certified. However, we are rolling out a program where we can support builders without Tarion by registering through our license, and we would just charge them a fee to do intermittent inspections at certain key points of the project to ensure that they're keeping up with Tarion standards. And then secondly, we go around and we visit a few other projects. We meet with some of their clients, whether by phone or in person, and we get some feedback on how they've done. And obviously, we've been building for a long time. We know what to look for from a quality perspective. We can walk 2 or 3 builds and tell you right away if you're a good or bad builder. Talking to clients is a huge part, because you can be a great but not be a good person.
For those builders, why would they work with you guys? Like, apart from giving them consistent work,
Yeah,
what do you guys?
that's the biggest thing. I mean, we're going to take care of your marketing for you. We're going to take care of your qualifying and vetting for you. We're going to take care of designing the home with the client, picking all of the finishes, picking the kitchen, picking all the exterior. We're going to handle procuring all the product. And essentially, when we come to you, you're going to have a full set of drawings with a package price already completed. The homeowner will have already likely placed a deposit on the package. So they're very committed to this build, and they're not just, shopping around everywhere and kicking tires. So essentially, we're giving you very, very, very high quality opportunities would be the biggest advantage.
Much. And do you guys partner up with multiple builders in the same area, so you can perhaps give the end customer better prices, or
Yeah.
or you just get take work where with one builder per area.
No. We try and stay around 3 builders per like large geographical area. Obviously, the more dense population, then we can make that circle smaller. But in like the larger areas like Muskoka, we try and keep kind of 3 builders to Gravenhurst, Bracebridge, Huntsville kind of area. Kawartha has a few builders. Go up towards like Kingston, we have some builders. So it's kind of geographic. There's no harm in having more. To give our clients more options. But yeah, we're trying to stick, we're not going too crazy. We don't want 20 builders in every area because we want to keep it somewhat exclusive to the good guys, right?
Gotcha. So, for those who are listening and interested in either partnering up with you guys to become a preferred builder, or just homeowners looking to downsize or looking to expand
Yeah.
to either net zero homes or prefabricated houses, how can they get a hold of you? And I think we covered what they should expect, but how
Yep.
can they get a hold of you?
It's an easy way to go. You can go fill out the contact form there if you're a homeowner. It'll go right to Melissa, who will take you right through the process and give you a bit more of a breakdown. You can call the office 416 net zero. It's an easy one. Or you can email sales@nzh.ca and we'll get back to you within 24 hours.
Perfect. One last question before we wrap it up. What makes you so passionate about this whole net zero homes and prefabricated houses, especially net zero homes?
I just think I just saw an opportunity there. Like, I mean, obviously making the planet a better place and making, I have 4 kids. And I think that's from a personal perspective. Obviously, I'm not a big green thumb, but I do love building sustainably because it's more than just building sustainable. It's building well. You're building quality. It's going to last. It's comfortable. So I think that was my biggest thing from a personal perspective, and then from a business perspective, it's an opportunity there. If all these homes are going to be, if the building code's going to be net zero, why not be building net zero 5 years ahead of that? So you're ahead of the cusp when the time comes, right? Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I truly appreciate your insights. That was beneficial to me personally, I'm certain it is for whoever listens to this.
Yeah.
Um, I'll leave your info in the description box. Appreciate again your time.
No
Is
worries,
is
man.
there anything else you wanna tell whoever is listening that we didn't cover? Like stuff you wish people know, or stuff that people need to be more educated on in terms of prefabricated houses or net zero houses.
I mean, I think if I want to talk to other builders out there, I'd say get ahead of this. Get certified, start learning the practices, start learning how to build net zero, even net zero ready. Homeowners, same thing. I mean, ask your builders and your contractors about these new techniques because they are going to be a standard going forward. And the last thing you want to do is, see it as a change order on your final bill. So
What about the homeowners?
it is a standard now. It is going to be the standard of building. So if you're building now or renovating now, why not be 2 or 3 years ahead of the game and build to that spec so that when you go to sell your house in 5, 10 years, it's there. It's up to new code, right? Versus not being.
Sounds good, Eric.
Hey, buddy.
Appreciate your time.
All right, man. Take care, brother. Take care.